We are 7 miles from the Donner Memorial. Did anybody ever hear of the Donner Party? It wasn't such a party at all. The Donner Party set off with 80 wagons setting off for the Promised Land. And they had money, great prairie schooners, followed the path. Some of them knew pioneering things, and some of them just were pretty boys. No clue. Kind of like a chiropractor graduating, big vision, we're going to go get gold, we're going to go do that, we're going to get in there. Yet, not having the skill set, so they have to follow a leader, right? So they get to a place, and they have this map, and they meet this man. And his name is Hastings. And Hastings sells them a map. Now think about this as a brain map. He sells them a map that there's a cutoff. They can save 340 miles. That's a lot in a schooner. You know what I mean? It's a lot. That's a lot in a car. So they go, okay, that sounds good. And they were going to then start at this Fort Bridger. So they would jump off of the real path, the one that's true, the one that works, to take a shortcut to success. That's the map they had. And then what they did know is at Fort Bridger, where they had to resupply, the guy who sold them the map owned the store. What do you think? People have been getting screwed over for a lot of years, kids. Whose fault? So the first 13 miles were fun. They were in a row. They were in it. Then they started to sink into the Salt Lake and just get buried in the dried beds. And then when they did get into the Wasatch Mountains, they had to literally cut all the trees down to make a path for the prairie schooner, the wagons. And then they had to move boulders. And coming down the hills were so steep, they had to lock up all the tires and just skid down. It was a slow trek. Hastings had never taken a wagon. He had been there on his horse, and not even a buggy. So, they get to right over here, Donner Lake, and another encampment, and now it's winter. They're beat, they're tired, they're worn out, and it's actually not winter, it's in November. Late October, early November. And then what happens as it does at Tahoe? Snow. Sometimes we can get 5 feet in a day and a half. So this was more than that. It just never, ever, ever stopped. They ate their oxen. They had then hides left, so they made tents. The tents leaked all the time. They were always wet. They were always hungry. Always. They had the wrong map. Their stakeholders were who? Who are the stakeholders in this? Their families, their kids, the future generations. This is a diary from a Mr. Breen, an Irish immigrant. Could have been one of your relatives. And he was writing saying, I'm watching Mrs. McKillicuddy and she's looking at her husband very longingly these last days. Because he was dying. And what was she thinking? I get to eat. That's a really harsh story to bring a point. That if you're following the wrong path, or if you've got the right map and you're not working the map, other people suffer. It's not about you. You know, it's like when you have a patient that has a health condition, they don't take care of it. What happens to the rest of the family? They end up taking care of it, don't they? So that was a little bit of a buzzkill. Because it's an important message. It's only right down here. Now, they were made heroes because they were heroic. But I don't see the heroes as those leaders. Do you? They were looking for the shortcut. I think they had to be accountable. But in our world, we are so optimistic that we like to see the magic in all the leaders. So, oh, they just had some bad luck. No, they had some really bad decisions. And that your success is going to be dependent upon making your decision. Most of you have not made the decision yet. That's why it's taking you so long. How long does it take to change? It's instant. Change is like right now. You know what takes a long time? Tell me what takes a long time. The decision to change. Oh, I don't know. People barely like me now. And if I go and change my technique, what do they think? If I change my financial plan, oh, I don't know. There won't be any candles on my cake. What'll they think? That's the decision that costs problems. So, what's your takeaway? Write something down from that little message. What is your takeaway? You write something down, a note to you.